What is up, everybody? We are back here at King Film Sports for the NFL Week 16 picks, predictions, and betting locks here. I am hyped for another great week of NFL football. Full slate of games here coming up on a few different days. Christmas weekend, obviously, and some big ramifications for the playoff picture. I made a video on that this week, so you should watch that one after this one. But here, getting to the recap of Week 15 that was here. And I went 11-5 on my game predictions here. I thought that the Steelers would beat the Colts. Was wrong there, as Pittsburgh jumped out to a 13-0 lead, but then got curb stomped by the Colts 30-13 there. 30 unanswered points from Indy at home to win there. Then the Bears choked it late against the Browns. So many opportunities to win that game, and even could have won it if Mooney held on to the Hail Mary, but just wasn't meant to be for Chicago there. Then Tennessee also jumped out to a 13-0 lead, choked that at home to the Texans without Stroud there. Case Keenum led the Texans to a big victory there. That was definitely one that hurt for the Titans. And then lost the Sunday and Monday night games there as the Jags just beat themselves. Really some brutal mistakes for them there. And then the Eagles, just a lackluster effort near the end. They left the door open for the Seahawks, and Drew Lock legacy drive there to win it for the Seahawks there. And then also I had the Cowboys-Bills -2 as the lock of the week there, and it hit to perfection. Wasn't even close. Bills had it 31-3, ended up winning by 21 there for the lock of the week. Now 12-3 on the season. Our lock of the week is the best bet in sports. You could also look at the Discord link in bio with all the betting picks, but would heavily advise everyone to take the bet of the week. I've been debating some of you guys in the comments in recent weeks about the bet of the week, and I'm not saying it's going to be undefeated, but definitely think that you have to be tailing me on that one to be profitable moving forward there. So with that being said, let's get into the betting lock recap here, and we started out on Thursday night, and boy, did this one will hit like a charm as the Raiders -3 were up 42-0 at halftime. Brandon Staley out as the head coach of the Chargers after that horrible effort on Thursday night there. So the Raiders end up winning 63-21, and that one not even close. Winner there for us. And then we get to the Saturday action where the Vikings had a big choke against the Bengals, but we had them at +4.5. The number was still +3.5, so you could have got that as well, as the Vikings ended up losing by 3 in overtime. So they choked the outright win, but we still hit our cover there. Steelers +3 got a great number, got great line movement here, but ultimately Mitch Trubisky and this Steelers offense is so ineffective. You really just can't bet on this team anymore. And the Colts just show that they're a frisky contender, even with Gardner Minshew, with the Shane Steichen offense. They are a good team near the end. Look like they could be making the playoffs at this point. So lost that one there. Then the Lions -4.5. This one hit easily there, as the Lions just killed that vaunted Denver defense, and Russell Wilson just didn't have enough with Denver's offense there. So the Lions win easily -4.5. Then we get to the Sunday action where it started out great. Bears +3.5. As I mentioned, they choked the outright win, but only lost by 3 there. Could have won outright easily. Then Bucks +3.5. This one was great. The big show with the perfect passer rating in Green Bay. Packers defense was just no match there, and the Bucks win outright by 14, I believe. Then Titans -2, as I mentioned, brutal choke. Thought they would win this one in a rout. End up losing outright, and Levis gets injured late, which is tough for all the Titans fans out there. Then we had the Panthers. Only put a half unit on this because they've just lost me so much money throughout this year. But had it at +3. They end up winning outright in a very ugly game against the Falcons there, 2 lowly teams. Next, we got to the Giants, which I had a half unit on the spread and the money line. And the story with Tommy DeVito finally ran its course here as they get stomped on by the Saints 24-6. Looked like it could be close here, 7-6 at the half, but the Saints really pounded them in the second half. That Giants offense stood no chance in that one, so tough loss. Then we had the Commanders +7. This one looked dead for most of the game, 28-7 late. The Commanders bench Howell, put in Jacoby Brissett, leads a touchdown drive. Then they get the ball back, leads another one, and then the point after attempt is blocked. Not to mention that the analytics play would have said to go for it there, so we would have covered outright if they hit it, but it ends up getting blocked, and then the Rams end up running out the clock, so a tough loss for us there. Should have been at least a push with a clutch backdoor effort. Then Niners-Cardinals over 47. This one hit easily there. Niners almost covered this by themselves, scoring 48 points. The Cardinals had 29 as well. Just the Niners, their defense had a pick 6, and Brock Purdy and the offense were absolutely electric in that one. And Kyler did a bit on offense in his own right there, so over it easily. Then Bills -2, as I mentioned, free lock of the week, now 12-3. You've got to be tailing that. The Cowboys stood absolutely no chance on the road there. They're just a different team. Then we had the Jags +3.5. This one hurt. I think it ended up being a 16-point game. Wasn't even really close, but just the fumbles with Trevor Lawrence, some of the ill-advised mistakes, and the miscues in the kicking game. I mean, I can mention a lot of it. Didn't even need the Jags to win, just cover the 3.5, but weren't even close to doing that with so many errors there. So thought we should have covered that, but that was a tough beat. And then Monday, we really took it on the shins. Eagles -3.5 was covering the whole game until that Drew Lock legacy drive there. So pretty tough beat for us. And then we had the over 45 late ad because Jalen Hurts was in the game for the Eagles, and this Eagles offense just has not looked right in the last 3 weeks. They didn't really get it going, and that's what left the door open for this Seahawks offense to win it late there. And I also thought Seattle might have done a little bit more all of the game, although they were clutch late there, so the over ends up not hitting there. So overall in the week, down 0.2 units. Our fourth straight losing week. The last 2 weeks we haven't really lost that much, but we really want to be winning, and I said we need to get right, and this week the pressure is on us, so we've got to do well here, and I have faith that we will. So here, let's get into the Week 16 picks and predictions. Started out with a great Thursday night game here. 2 7-7 teams that need a win in this one for their playoff seeding. Saints are still alive for that 4th seed, tied with the Bucks for the NFC South lead. Rams just in it for the wild card here, and the winner will likely end up making the playoffs here, so this one is big. In this one, I'm taking the Rams to win, but I think it'll be a lot closer than a lot of people expect. I know that the Saints team has really underperformed based on their expectations preseason. This was supposed to be a big favorite to win that NFC South, but still I think this defense is playing very well, and I think that they will clamp down on this Rams offense. That will be a very interesting matchup. Can these receivers get loose in the secondary, and can this Rams team block this Saints team up front? I think that they will have trouble doing so, but I just do not think that Derek Carr and that Saints offense is efficient enough to keep up, so I think that'll be a little bit of a dogfight in this one, but give me the Rams to eventually pull it out there. Then we get to the Saturday action. Some more playoff implications here. Bengals at the Steelers here. Steelers really need this win. The Bengals have won 3 straight. In this one, give me the bounce back effect. Give me Tomlin at home. Give me the Steelers to win this game. I know this one is probably not a popular pick among many people. Very ugly spot, but I just think that you have to trust the Pittsburgh Steelers here at home. This is a classic Tomlin spot. People are talking like he's going to get fired after this season, which I think would be brutal. I think it's all about the quarterbacking play, and let's face it, Mitch Trubisky is awful. Maybe they can get Kenny Pickett back for this week, or maybe you throw in Mason Rudolph. I don't know. You've got to get that running game going as well, and the Steelers defense has to play a lot better than they did last week. Now, big thing in this matchup, Browning has been cooking in the past few weeks, but first 3 quarters last week, he wasn't that good, and Jamar Chase is supposedly out this week with a sprained AC joint. He really opens up a lot of things with that offense. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball in the Steelers, so it's got to be Browning in that passing game. Without Jamar Chase, I think that the productivity will be limited. I think this is a sloppy, grimy game, classic AFC North in December, and give me the Steelers to pull it out there, although it is a very ugly pick. Then we get to the Bills at Chargers. This one's pretty easy. Chalk it up to the Bills. I think that you might see a little bit of a bounce back of effect. Chargers have the rest advantage in this one, playing on Thursday night, and Staley's fired, so they're going to be fired up for their interim head coach, but still, the Bills thoroughly outclass them in terms of talent and will and passion, so I think the Bills will win this one easily there. Then we get to the Sunday picks. Falcons-Colts here, another ugly pick for me, but give me the Falcons to win this one at home. What really tilted it was they are starting Taylor Heineke in this game, and I just think he's so much better than Ritter. He's not a game-breaking talent, but Ritter is just so bad as this team's starting quarterback. With Heineke, they have a chance here at home, indoors. This team needs a win. They've been struggling as of late, and I think that this Colts team is inflated. 8-6. I mean, this is a good story with Shane Steichen and Gardner Minshew, but this is not an 8-6 team. This is not a playoff team, so give me the Falcons here in an upset spot at home. I think they get right there, as I just think that the talent between these two teams is not as large as a lot of you guys think, so give me the Falcons there. Then we get to the Packers at the Panthers. Packers really need this win. Give me the Packers to win there. I think that this Panthers team, again, is undervalued. They are a 2-win team, so I think that this could be a sneaky upset spot, but due to the fact that the Packers have lost 2 in a row, they really need to get right to get their playoff hopes back on track, so give me them to win it here, and I just think that Bryce Young offense, even against this horrible Green Bay defense, won't be able to do enough to win there, so I think that the Packers will win there in Carolina. Then we get to a very intriguing game. Browns at the Texans here. You've got C.J. Stroud potentially against Joe Flacco and this Browns talented defense. If C.J. Stroud ends up playing, getting out of the concussion protocol, give me the Texans to win this game. I just think that the offense is so good, and the Browns defense really hasn't been the same in these road games. And Flacco, as I've said earlier, he's just overrated at this point. He does throw for a lot of yards and some touchdowns in these games, but the mistakes are just too critical, and when they play against a good team, they will get exposed. So give me the Texans to win big in that one. And that brings us to our lock of the week. As I mentioned before, 12-3, best bet in sports. This one, it is a bit of a square play. It's a bit of a public play. I don't like taking these as the lock of the week, but I just thought it was the best option here. Give me the Lions -3 in Minnesota. All of the trends and all of the professional money would lead you to believe that this is not the case, but at this number, I just think that the Lions are the better team than the Vikings. I think that they'll win by more than a field goal, and the Lions have been struggling on the road, but this is in a dome. This is not an inclement weather game where Jared Goff could potentially fumble or have some throwing issues, so I just think that against this team, sure, this Minnesota defense is good, but they had a heartbreaking loss last week against the Bengals, and the Lions looked great. People could argue that there could be a regression spot coming, but I just think that this Lions team is way better than the Vikings, and they've already dropped 2 division games against the Packers and Bears, so they won't be overlooking anyone at the spot, even though they just came off a big win. So give me the Lions there, big. Next game, we get to the Jets and Commanders. This one really doesn't matter. Give me the Jets to win at home here. 2 disappointing teams so far this season, but just think even though the Jets lost 30-0 last week, their defense may be able to carry them to a victory here, but honestly, just a coin flip there. Then we get to the Seahawks at the Titans. Bit of an upset. Give me the Titans to win at home here in a very ugly spot again, but even with Will Levis's injury, I mean, I am high on Will Levis as I think that his upside could be great, but even the optimists on Will Levis have to acknowledge at this point in the season that he's not much better, if any at all, than Tannehill, and Tannehill wants to save his dignity here if he ends up starting in this game. So I think that Tannehill will play pretty well against the Seahawks defense, who is not great. And I just think Seattle, coming off of the emotional win on a short week, going across country to Nashville here, this is a tough spot for them. Titans really need to bounce back, and I think that they will in a big way at home here. So give me the Titans to win in a bit of an upset there. Next game, we get to a big one in terms of playoff implications. The Jaguars, who've lost 3 straight at the 7-7 NFC South leading Bucks. In this one, I've got to take the Jags. I just think that they're the more talented team and have the better quarterback. If Trevor Lawrence ends up playing here, I think you're going to see some regression to the mean. The Jags are not this bad and the Bucks are not this good at this point in the season. I hope that Lawrence ends up playing in this game. I hope he gets out of concussion protocol there, and I hope he plays a lot better this week. And overall, even though this one's in Tampa Bay, I think that the Jags will end up winning this one, as they really need this one in a desperate spot. Next game, we get to the Cardinals at the Bears. This one between two lowly teams, and give me the Bears to win this one. I think that they are playing a little bit better, and honestly, just because of the fact that they're at home here, they showed a lot these past few weeks, but they just do not know how to win these close football games. So maybe the Cardinals could steal it, but the Cardinals defense is really bad in their own right. So should be interesting because these two quarterbacks very mobile, and they are capable of making those highlight reel plays, but you really just don't know what you're going to get out of either of them week to week. So we'll see here. Should be a fun game in this afternoon window, but give me Chicago to win narrowly there. And that brings us to the Cowboys at the Dolphins. This will be a fantastic watch between two teams that need this win, both at 10-4. Give me the Cowboys to bounce back in this one. I know that I said that on the road, this team is different, but on the bounce back effect against this Miami team, I actually like the Cowboys in this spot. I just do not think that the Dolphins are a physical team. And you've seen the exact same thing that we've kind of seen against the Cowboys. When the Dolphins face a good team, they are just not the same. When they play a bad team, they can beat them up like they did the Jets 30-0 last week. But when the Dolphins played at the Bills or against the Chiefs in Germany or against the Eagles, they really got exposed in all of those games. So I just think that the Cowboys are overall better. They're going to be facing a lot of this criticism during this week and want to shut the naysayers up in this one. So give me the Cowboys to win there. I think this is just a classic bounce back spot. And even though it's in Miami, I think that the Cowboys fans will travel well in this one. And I think they get it done in South Beach in a great watch there. And that brings us to the Christmas Eve game, Patriots at the Broncos, and give me the Broncos to win this one to bounce back. I know that the Patriots defense was playing decent, but if they want to win this one, they're going to have to pick off Russell Wilson a few times, maybe return one to the house. But I think that they really got exposed against that Chiefs team. The Chiefs put up 27 in that one. Honestly, could have been more. Chiefs made a lot of mistakes there. So I think that the Sean Payton team will be a lot more prepared coming into this game, a game that they need to win here for their playoff hopes. And I think that they will get it done behind that strong defense here. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Broncos have more talent here, so give me them to win at home in the Mile High City there. Then that brings us to our Christmas action 3-game slate here. Raiders at Chiefs is the first one, and Raiders obviously have the rest advantage in this one. They got that huge win against the Chargers at home, extra preparation here. Remember earlier in the season, I think they were up 14-0 on this Chiefs team and ended up losing it 31-17. So they know they let one slip through the grasp there, and I think that they'll play very hard in this one. I think this will be a close game, but I just think that the Chiefs are the better team. Mahomes and that offense got some things going last week in New England, so give me the Chiefs to win there. Then that brings us to the Eagles and the Giants. Another contending team this week that is desperate, needs a win in the Eagles against a Giants team that's really broken from last week. I think that this DeVito story will be over. Maybe he can do some things against this Philly defense, but in reality, this Philly team at home here is so much more talented. I think this will be a good spot for them to get right on Christmas against their divisional rival. Then that brings us to a great game here, Monday night, potentially the game of the year, Ravens at the Niners. In this one, you've got to take the Niners to win this one at home. I know that their defense has been somewhat susceptible to the rush, especially last week against Arizona, but this offense is just so good. I know that this Ravens defense is good as well, but no one's really been able to stop them so far this season, except for that Browns game where they were dealing with some injuries there. So I think that as long as Purdy is efficient here and doesn't make too many critical mistakes, the Niners should be able to win this one. And honestly, I think it's going to take a Herculean effort from Lamar to win this game for them. I think that they've got to limit possessions, just sit on the ball for like 10 minutes during these drives, just run out the clock if they want to win this game, because I think that the Niners are clearly the more talented team in this one. Ravens have kind of been skating by in a lot of these wins, though the teams have the same record. So just think that the Niners are the better team here, playing at home in a night game. Sure, anything can happen, but I will take San Francisco, but should be a thrilling game nonetheless there. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of my predictions in the comments down below. Do you agree with my takes? How do you feel about Lions -3 as the lock of the week there? How do you feel about my Niners-Ravens prediction? How do you feel about the Cowboys potentially getting right against the Dolphins, and some other predictions that I had as well? As always, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.